Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to start our class up with the Shema. Any objections? No objections? May the Most High be praised.
Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael,
Shabbat Shalom, family. Welcome again. Today's lesson is going to be a rather unique lesson. It's going to be primarily geared toward those who are new to this way of life. It's going to be primarily geared toward those who haven't made the full commitment to the Creator. You know, it's the way in which we half-heartedly submit ourselves to this King and think that the Father's finding favor with us. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that hold us back from drawing spiritually closer to the Most High King. And I'd like to begin our readings today in the book of Leviticus, the 11th chapter. The name of the lesson is titled, Time to Change Direction. So you might want to go out, share the room, share your friends, and invite everybody you know so that we can get that 8 million mark that we're trying to hit, that 8 million. Remember, we're trying to get 8 million views. So try to hit that mark, and it's something that's obtainable. Don't think that it's not obtainable, because it is. Giving all honor and praise unto the Most High Power, the King of all creation, honoring all the elders, the leadership, distinguished guests, brothers and sisters. I greet you all in the name of the Creator by saying Shabbat Shalom Lakim. When somebody says Shabbat Shalom Lakim, that means Shabbat Shalom to you all, and the normal greeting is Shabbat Shalom Lekah, which means Shabbat Shalom back to you. Lekah in the masculine gender. So, let's travel together. May the Most High guide my mind, my spirit, my body, my language, and my speech as I approach unto you, His people. May the Most High be praised. Total Rabbah. So, bro, can we get you to read today for us? Leviticus, the 11th chapter. Let's travel together, family. You might get a little bit closer, like pull your chair a little bit to the edge of the table if you can, just so everyone in the audience can hear you. The name of the lesson today is titled, Time to Change Direction. While my brother is looking for the chapter and verse to read, I'd like to just acknowledge some of the people. I want to thank the people who are the devout listeners. No matter what's the season, no matter what's going on in their home, no matter who else is on another channel or whatever, you're always trying to tune in to Prince Israel, Temple Kifarim, and hear what's going on and what he has to say. I want you to know that I am very grateful and pleased that you have decided to take this journey with me and walk with me as I walk with the Creator, that you have set your mind to entrust in and accept a lot of the teachings that I bring forward. As the Most High brings it to me, I deliver it to you. So I thank you all, the brothers and sisters who have decided to do this of your own choice. No one's holding a gun up to you. Nobody's chasing you down. You don't owe me no money. I don't think you do. So anyway, I'd like to thank you all. I just want to take that time and say Toda Rabbah is greatly appreciated. And may the Most High be praised forever and forever. So we're going to get started. First chapter, first verse, Leviticus, the 11th chapter.
Leviticus 11, starting with first chapter. And Yah spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying,
Stop. The Most High spoke to who?
The children of Israel.
No, before he spoke to the children of Israel, he spoke to somebody else and told them to tell the children of Israel something. What did he say?
Moses and Aaron.
He said, Moses and Aaron. You know, most of the scriptures that you read here in the book of Leviticus, mostly you're going to see where the Creator spoke to Moshe and Aaron in many places. But remember now, Aaron had a job to do. Aaron was the prophet for Moshe. Aaron stood in the position where Moshe would tell him what to say, and he will go out and say this information to the people. Sometimes the Most High speaks to both of them, like he's doing right here in this particular chapter. So that's letting you know that this is some serious business. The Most High don't want you messing it up. And a lot of people take the Most High instructions lightly, real lightly. So let's see what the Most High is about to get into. Read on, please.
Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and chewed with the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat.
Whatever is what? What was the instructions? Whatever was what?
Parted with the hoof,
Parted the hoof,
and is cloven-footed,
and is cloven-footed,
and chewed with the cud.
and cheweth the cud. Now, I don't know how long you've been in Israel. I don't know how long you've been trying to keep the laws of the Creator. But a lot of people, they'll read this and say the only thing they can't eat is the pig. And it's not true. There are many things, there are many beasts that roam the earth that you cannot eat. You can't eat dog. Why? Why can't you eat dog? See, a dog doesn't fall in none of these categories. It's not cloven-footed. It's not. Cloven-footed is like when you see a cow, how their hoof is split in the middle and there's separation between both sides of the hoof. That's cloven-footed. Okay? It doesn't chew off the cud. A lot of people don't understand, never researched, and never was even inquiring about what chew off the cud means. Chew off the cud means most of these beasts that we are able to eat have two stomachs. They chew their food, spit it up, chew it again. You don't see the food come out of their mouth, but this is the process. This is what chewing the cud is all about. It's a digestion process that the Creator allows to be done. There are a lot of animals that are clean that we don't eat for different reasons. Because you usually eat the foods that you were raised up eating from your youth. It's an indoctrination process that you're taught. There's a lot of creatures and bugs and insects that we are able to eat that are clean and kosher before the Almighty. But because we wasn't raised up on that culture, we wasn't taught to eat these things, we don't eat them. But according to the Most High's laws, these things, these creatures, these animals, they are acceptable to the Creator. Read on, please.
Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chewed the cud, or of them that divided the hoof.
Now they chewed the cud and or divided the hoof, but you shouldn't eat them. Go ahead, read on, please.
As the camel, because he cheweth the cud.
The camel cannot be eaten by a Hebrew Israelite deciding to serve the Creator. Well, you say, well, Prince, how does that, we don't eat no camel here. A lot of people do eat camel. A lot of Muslims find camel as a delicacy. It's a supreme treat for them. We have a lot of Hebrew Israelites parading around as Muslims. So they'll go and they'll visit these places, Islamic countries and nations and peoples, and they'll partake of their food. We're going to read a little bit about what the Quran has to say about what's clean, what's unclean. You know, maybe I'll tell you a little bit right here. The Quran teaches that the only things you can't eat pertaining to animals is that which dieth of itself. No, it don't even say, I don't believe it said that. It said, let me read it verbatim, because I have it here for us to read today. It mentions something about you can't eat the things, the beasts. In Surah 5, Ayat 3, forbidden unto you are the foods, are these following foods. Dead meat, so that's where you get the diet of itself. Dead meat, if you don't know how it died and it died of its own, you're not supposed to eat it. You can't eat the blood. Can't eat the blood of the animal. Now, I don't know if a lot of people understand this, but it's almost impossible to get the blood out of meat. This is why the Jewish man soaks the meat in salt water 2 and 3 days before he would eat it. Because the salt would eat up the blood, but it's almost impossible to get blood out of meat. So if you can't get the blood out of the meat and you're eating meat, I don't care how you cook it, all you're doing is cooking the meat, the blood. So if you can't get the blood out of the meat, why are you eating the meat? Something else to think about, huh? Prince, you're going over the top. I always go over the top because that's how I feel about the Creator. You got to be real when you serve this king. You got to give him your all. So if you want to fall in accordance with that law, where you're not eating the blood that's in the meat, then I suggest you take that little beef steak that you purchased from the store, the corner butcher shop or whatever, soak it in water, soak it in salt. Give it some time to get all that blood out of it, throw it in your freezer, and then cook it. And even then, you're not getting 100% of the meat or the blood out of the meat. Scientifically, they will show you and prove to you that you cannot get all the blood out of meat. Because a lot of the blood is what makes the meat what it is. That's just a fact. All right? But you can check that out for yourself. But this is what they believe. They believe that you can't eat what dies of itself. You can't eat the blood. And specifically, they say you cannot eat the flesh of swine. The swine is the pig. They got that part right also. One of the most filthiest animals on the earth is the pig, the hog. The hog is in the pig family, same creature. While we was out celebrating Sukkot the other day, I was walking around with one of my knowledgeable brothers, and I believe it was Brother Antoine, and we were talking. And he brought up, it was either Antoine or Uziel. They brought up the fact that they had hogs and that the hog was impossible to kill with poison. You can't poison the hog. The hog eats, a snake could bite a hog and the hog won't die because its body secretes the poison. It'll push it out. So if it won't intake anything into its bloodstream, into its body, not because of its skin being tight, but because of its makeup, its genetic makeup, this is why the Creator don't want you eating it. So if it won't intake these things, What makes you think that this animal is clean? Do you know that pigs don't even sweat?
So on the inside.
They don't even sweat. That's right. Most animals, they sweat, they breathe, they skin breathe. Pigs don't operate like that. Pigs and hogs are one of the most unclean animals on the earth. You know what another one is? The scavengers in the sea, the shrimp and the crab. These are things that people find delicacies with. A lot of Hebrew Israelites living according to the Torah per their mouths partake of these things and refuse to let them go. There's a lot of damage that these things do to you that you have no even idea of how deep these things are affecting you. You think, well, I'm just eating it. It's going to be all right when it's over and done with, but it's not. First of all, you are physically, willingly violating a command given by the Creator, that which you should never do. Secondly, you're doing something that the Most High has said for you not to do, and you don't even know why He said for you not to do it. I have a theory as to why He said we shouldn't do these things, and it's in my lesson today. So pay close attention, and you'll get the answers revealed to you. They have another command that's very important when the Muslim man, the Islamic man. Now, I'm not knocking Islam. I'm not knocking the religion of Islam. Because in my mind, I know that a Muslim, in his truest sense of a Muslim, in his truest sense, not that stuff they got today, but in his truest sense, is worshiping the Creator. Well, how can you say that, Prince? There are a lot of things about the power of the Creator that most people have no understanding of, no idea how the Most High operates. And I'm not into the bash biting and talking about people, but one day we'll have that conversation and I'll explain it to you. I'm not talking about the Islam, the average Muslim today. That's not what I'm talking about. They have no idea what they're doing. So that's not what I'm speaking about, so please don't bring that back to me. But when your understanding of the Ivrit language, your understanding of the Creator, when it travels where it needs to go, you'll understand what I'm saying. Maybe later we'll have that conversation. But this is the other part that they got right. And it says, and that on which have been invoked in the name of other gods, deities, powers. Now, they had enough sense to put all that in their book. They didn't put the whole dietary law like we have. They put certain specific things in their books and their teachings for the Muslim followers and worshipers of their power to avoid partaking in, avoid eating in. Now, there are many Hebrew Israelites today who say, well, I can eat halal food. It's okay for me to eat halal food. And they'll shop around and they'll look for certain markets. And I admire your desire to do righteously before the Creator. I do. I applaud you for that. To go all out of your way to find a place that in your mind is acceptable to the Creator for food for you to eat. You bypass the average supermarket. You don't want to buy your meats from them. So you go find yourself a halal store and you go buy your foods from them. What I'm submitting to you that you shouldn't even buy your foods from a halal store. First of all, the first thing is that a lot of the halal stores, their food ain't halal. Their food is pretended to be halal so they can sell it to you so that they can make money because the man running the store or the butcher shop is truly not a righteous man. Second of all, halal foods. Now, before they slaughter an animal, they recite prayers over top of that animal in order for it to be halal. First, it's raised a certain way, it eats a certain thing, but then before they kill it, they have to kill it in a certain manner, but they cut its throat. And before they slice his throat, they recite prayers and they give glory to their deity. That deity is not the Creator. So if that power, their power that they worship is not the Creator, then what you're doing is, in essence, you're eating foods that's offered to another power. That's a violation of the law. They had enough sense to recognize that. So that meant that a Muslim man had no business buying food off of a Christian for his survival. because most Christians would pray and thank their deity for the foods that they have and the animals that they have and the flocks that they have. So a lot of Israelites are running around here buying halal foods, and they're eating foods that's been offered to a deity. And it has nothing to do with the Creator. Nothing. But you got to know what you're doing. Now, remember what I said. The average Muslim today is not worshiping the Creator. Period. Let me say this to you, because the Creator puts this in my spirit when I say things like that. None of us can determine who the Most High will receive his blessings from or his praise from. None of us. Because none of us understands what the Most High uses in fullness to judge another person. There will be a lot of Christians who worship the idol JC that we know, that gives him the pureness of their soul. There will be a lot of them that the Most High will elevate above the Hebrew man. Because the Hebrew man don't worship the Most High at all. He blasphemes the name of the Creator. He'll know the Shabbat day is holy and sacred, but he'll bypass and say, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do. The Christian man don't know. The Christian man don't know these things, but yet he walks in accordance to what he believes to be right with all of his soul. Now, I'm not saying that all Christians are like this. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's not for us, human beings, flesh and blood, to determine who prayers the Most High is satisfied with, whose walk of life the Most High is pleased with. It's not for us to determine. The only thing that's for us to determine is how we walk before the Almighty. So stop pointing the fingers at your brothers and sisters, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles. Embrace them all. Just don't pray with them. Don't worship with them. Because they're ignorant and they don't know. But it's not for you to judge them. It's not for you to ridicule them. It's not for you to punish them. It is for you to correct them, so you give it the best that you have to bring them correction. But if they don't accept it, you step off and you keep it moving. But we don't have the mind of the Creator. What I mean by that is that the Most High has mercy on whom he chooses to have mercy. He does. For example, when the children of Israel went into the land of the Jebusites. Jebusites were the original name of Jerusalem. Jebus was the original name of Jerusalem. The Jebusites was the inhabitants of the land of Jerusalem. So when we went in, and we went into the land of the Jebusites, the Most High said that the people, because he gave them that land originally, you know, that he allowed them to settle in that land. One of the questions is, why did he allow that to happen? Because he gave them instructions how to live by, not the instructions he gave the Creator, gave the children of Israel. I'm not saying that. There were laws that people had on earth that they were to abide by. All the earth. Abraham kept the laws of the Creator. When did it say that Abraham received the laws? Even the laws of the Most High was given in the time of Moses. And Moses was Abraham's great-great-great-great-grandson. You follow me? But yet the scripture says, the Most High says, Abraham kept his laws. So there was laws in the earth. The Most High's laws in the earth prior to that they kept. Children of Israel kept. When Judah, who is Moses' uncle, great uncle, somewhere in that area, when he kept the law with On, his son, with the sister Tamar, who was about to have a child. She was married to his son, and the son died with no children. That's a commandment that's in the laws of the Almighty. But the laws of the Most High wasn't given until years later, many years later. So how did Judah know that? You see, there was laws of the Almighty in the earth prior to the Most High giving the laws on Mount Sinai to the children of Israel. They were his laws that a lot of people abide by. Melchizedek was called what? Melchizedek, king of righteousness. Well, how was he righteous and found favorable in the sight of the Creator unless he was pleasing the Most High in his righteousness? You understand what I'm trying to say? So just to clear it up, family, the Most High gave us a law. He has not done that to any other nation. He has pulled out individuals to give them laws, to teach them things. Those individuals did what they did. But to us, the children of Israel, we stood at the foot of the mountain quaked, the mountain shaked, and the Most High spoke out of his mouth and delivered unto us a law. That's what makes us unique from everyone else on the earth. When it comes to your power, speaking to you face to face, that's in the law. So they got that part right. So I back up to my Hebrew brothers. Please do not eat halal foods because they're not clean for you as a Hebrew Israelite. Okay? All right. Is there anything else? Did I skip anything? Did I miss anything? All right. Let's keep it going. So now, we're in the book of Leviticus, the 11th chapter, and we're speaking about foods that are unclean. Unclean foods for you to eat. Read on, please.
Leviticus 11, verse 5. And the coney, because he chewed the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. And the hare, because he chewed the cud, but divided not the hoof, he is unclean unto you.
A lot of people, a hare is a rabbit. Hare is a rabbit. And a lot of people eat rabbit. A lot of Hebrew Israelites eat rabbit. Well, what is the Most High going to say to us about these things? The Most High is going to say that their dead bodies are unclean. The animal, while it's alive, is not unclean. But once it dies, that animal, the carcass, is unclean for you. So, if the animal is alive, can I cut a piece of his leg off and eat it?
A rabbit?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
Because it's not lawful.
Because it's unlawful. Because the animal's dead. Once you cut that leg off, you have now made that leg to be dead, right? And that leg belongs to what? That animal, right? So what's the difference in cutting off that leg and cutting off his fur and using his fur to make clothes? The rabbit is still alive. But the moment you take the scissors to his hair dies. Can you cut the rabbit ear off and eat it? Even though the rabbit is still alive, can you cut his ear off and eat it? It only makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So why do you think you can use his tail and make it as a button on your jacket or your shirt? Why do you think that that's acceptable? And it's not. But a lot of our people are under that understanding that it is acceptable, that you can do these things. But these things should not be done. They should not be allowed. Read on, please.
Verse 6, or verse 7. And the swine, though he divided the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he chewed not the cud. He is unclean to you.
So he divided the hoof, and he be cloven-footed. So it can't have one or two things. It has to have all three. He does divide the hoof. He's cloven-footed, but yet he cheweth not the cud. He doesn't have those double stomachs. He doesn't eat his food, swallow it, spit it up, chew it up again. He doesn't do that. He doesn't have the proper digestion system for his food. You follow me? Read on, please.
Verse 8. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcasses shall ye not touch.
Of their flesh, you should not eat it. And their dead bodies, if you're walking down the road and you see it on the road dead, don't touch it. If it's in your yard, you got animals in your fields, don't touch it if it dies of its own. What you have to do is you have to pick it up some kind of way and get it out of your way. What we do in Goshen, if an animal dies, although those animals that we have are all clean animals, we don't have any unclean animals yet, but if they die, we got a backhoe where we go and scoop it up, pick it up, and bury it. You can do the same thing with an unclean animal. And if you have to touch it, then you have to touch it. You're only unclean till the evening. But you're not putting it, consuming it into your body. Put on some gloves. Pick that animal up, put it wherever you got to put it, because you can't leave his dead body there, because disease, infestation, those type of things will happen. You could get sick, people could die. So you pick that dead body up, you get it in the earth, and you bury it. Leave it. Be done with it. Okay? But you're going to be unclean until the evening.
Even with the gloves?
Even with the gloves. In my opinion, just my opinion, you're still unclean until the evening. So wash your flesh and be unclean until the evening. Don't make prayer when you're unclean. Okay? So read on, please.
9. Leviticus 11, verse 9. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas.
So now we're changing the pace. We're going from what's on the land to now what's in the sea. Let's say the creatures on the land to now what's in the sea. So let's read on, please.
In the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat.
So he got real specific. He said in the waters, well, some people say waters could be a lake. He says, well, all right, in the seas. He said, in the seas, in the oceans. He wants you to know that wherever there's water and there's animals living in the water, they can be unclean. They have to have a certain diagram. They have to abide by a certain rule. And that rule he's about to give to us. Read on, please.
Verse 10. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas, and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination to you.
They have to have fins, and they have to have scales. Well, Prince, tuna don't, but they do. Tuna is clean for you to eat. That is a controversy that's been existing in Israel for a long time. Mackerel is good for you to eat. What is not good that I found out was sardines.
It's not good.
Are not good. When I was a buck, I used to love some sardines. Now, sardines means little fish. So that could be a little fish of any caliber. You never know if it got fins or scale because when they get in the can, ain't no scales on it anyway. So sardines, you can't eat. Mackerel was cool for you to eat. Salmon was cool for you to eat. Definitely salmon. But sardines, you can't eat. You shouldn't eat sardines. They're unclean because you never know what kind of fish you're getting. A lot of people like to eat caviar. Caviar is fish eggs. Well, what fish eggs? We don't know. So you can't eat them. Unless you know what it is that you're consuming, then you can't eat it. Squid, octopus, shark, all these things are unclean. Catfish, unclean. Tilapia. Stay away from it. It's poisonous. Bad for you. Okay? Anything in the sea that swims has to have fins and scales. Well, you know what a controversy came up at? Controversy came up with the big jumbo shrimp, the oxymoron that exists. How you gonna have a jumbo shrimp? Think about it. They call it shrimp, but then they got jumbo shrimp, which is a little bigger than the little shrimp, but they still call it a shrimp. Shrimp by definition means little. So you got a big little one that you're gonna eat. The controversy came up with the jumbo shrimp or even the shrimp itself. Because if you open up a shrimp, you have to go through its scales to get to the meat. And plus, on the side of a shrimp, there are little fins. So that would say, well, shrimp must be cool because they got fins and they got scales, so you can eat them. That's not a scale. On a shrimp, it's called an ectoskeleton. That's what it's called. Ectoskeleton. Their skeleton lives outside of their body, and their flesh is like the carnal inside of a meat, inside of a bone. That's what it is. That's how they live. That's the creature itself. Ectoskeleton. You have no business eating shrimp. None. And that's another delicacy of a Hebrew Israelite. A lot of Hebrew Israelites love shrimp. They love crabs. I used to have people that knew how I lived, and that they called themselves being close to me, but yet we would have a fallout, and what they would do was take all the kids and have all the kids sitting around eating shrimps and crabs and look at me and laugh in my face and tease me and laugh at me while they eat the shrimps and the crabs, and I just felt so sad for them. I felt so sorry for them. Because they thought they were hurting me or punishing me, but really they were hurting themselves by displeasing the Creator. And these was individuals who knew the Hebrew way, who was raised in the Hebrew way. They knew better. But they knew I was devoted to the Creator, so they called themselves punishing me and ridiculing, making fun of me by doing such these abominable things. Tilapia, stay away from it. Tilapia is a dangerous fish. Read about it. It'll tell you all about tilapia. Read on that, please.
Leviticus 11:11. They shall be even an abomination unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination.
They shall be. Now I read it to some Hebrew Israelites that read that part right there. And they said, well, you shall have their carcasses as an abomination. They said you can eat it, but it's going to be something that you don't want to do. When it says you shall have their carcass as an abomination, they said you can eat it, but it's going to be something that you don't, the abomination part is something that you don't want to do, but yet you're going to do it. That's not what the law is saying. That's a bad translation of the law. When it says you're going to have their flesh as an abomination, that means you're going to see it, and to you, it's going to be an abomination. That's all. It's going to be detestable. It's going to, here it is. They didn't interpret it that way. They interpreted that it was permissible for you to eat, but you ain't going to like it. They do the same thing with the swine. They think you can eat pork, you can wear clothes. Now, that's another thing that I got to bring to your attention because a lot of people don't know this. But a lot of things that's pushed off as a leather is swine skin, pork skin. Think about this for a minute. The football, the NFL football that we so much play with, most of them are swine skin, pig skin. A lot of leather coats that they have that's real cheap are pork skin. A lot of seats in your car, and a lot of the furniture you get, it is leather, but leather only means animal hide. Leather don't mean a clean animal, it means animal hide. So you never know, just because it's leather don't mean that it's clean and acceptable before the Creator. You have to know what kind of leather it is. Did I just mention to you that camel was unclean? Did I just say to you, did the Most High say camel was unclean? Well, in the New Testament, they got a character. His name is John the Baptist. He lived in the wilderness. John the Baptist, that's my man. He's my man, right? He lived in the wilderness. And what did he wear for his clothing? Camel skin. Unclean. They give you hints, but a lot of times you don't see the hint because you're so busy looking for the big picture in the little thing. John the Baptist walked around with camel skin, clothed around his loins, his parts. It was unclean. He shouldn't have had no camel skin on. Camels are unclean. See, these are things that true servants of the Most High should be able to pick up on. But sometimes we allow things to get in the way and cloud our vision. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what some of those things are when we start reading. All right? Let's go out, please. Take us where we need to be. We're in the book of Leviticus, the 11th chapter.
Verse 12. Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. 13. And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among
We get ready to have some fun. We getting ready to have some fun.
We
We getting ready to have some fun. I hope y'all ready. I hope you got your thinking caps on because we're going to talk about that food that you love to eat.
I'm going to start over too. 13.
Yeah. Go ahead. Read it.
Leviticus 11 verse 13.
Uh-huh.
And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls.
These are the things that fly in the air. The birds, not the flying fish, but the birds that you shall have an abomination that fly. Read on.
They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination.
They shall not be eating. They are an abomination to the Most High. Read on.
The eagle and the ostrich.
The eagle, the ostrich. Everybody, we know we can't eat those things, right?
Okay.
A lot of people love ostrich. They got ostrich tea, ostrich soup. They love the ostrich. They're unclean for us. Read on.
And the osprey.
The osprey.
What is that? What is osprey?
It's another bird that almost look like the ostrich, almost.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And the vulture.
And the vulture.
And the kite after its kind.
Uh-huh.
Every raven after his kind.
A raven, which is the falcon.
And the
Did
owl.
you say the falcon? Or don't say falcon in your book?
No, don't say
Okay,
falcon.
go ahead.
And the owl. And the nighthawk. And the cuckoo. And the hawk. Oh, there we go. And the hawk after his kind. Okay. 17. And the little owl. And the cormorant. And the great owl. 18. And the swan. And the pelican. And the gear eagle. 19. And the stork. The heron after her kind. And the lapwing. And the bat. 20.
These are the animals that fly that you're not supposed to eat. Did he say the falcon?
Yeah, basically raven.
The falcon. Well, you'll say raven, falcon.
Falcon, yeah, can.
The hawk.
Swan.
I want you to do a real thorough research on the chicken.
No, you get that.
Yeah.
Come on.
And find out what family the chicken is in. The chicken is in the buzzard family. The buzzard is in the falcon family. These are things that are unclean, that we're not supposed to eat. They made that chicken. That's why the chicken eat almost anything on the ground. It will eat almost anything. Chicken has a purpose. Chicken, I want to say chicken is unclean. But don't take Prince's word for it. They're going to make it hard for you to find out what it is. I had this conversation with a sister a while ago on Goshen land because she wanted to eat chicken. She probably still eat chicken. So I tried to find my research, but I couldn't find it. But I had done the research in the past. The chicken is unclean. But you can't tell a Hebrew man chicken is unclean. Because a Hebrew man will get angry with you, fuss with you, and fight with you, and he won't stop listening to you because he don't want to stop eating that chicken. Chicken's unclean. But I don't want to mess with your conscience. So you go ask the Creator, get up and do your research, and then go look and see if the chicken is unclean. Why do you think the black man love it so much? I mean, let's be real.
Like pork.
You know why we love it so much? And that's right, just like pork, but there's a reason why we love pork so much. Chicken and pork was the cheapest things that they could feed to the slaves. They fed it to us because it was so costly, less expensive. And we ate it, and we haven't stopped eating it till today. We still eating it. Now, I could say cow is unclean if I wanted to, but I'm wrong because it passes the law. If I was just picking on chicken because it's meat, then I could say that. But no, I'm not. Chicken is in the buzzard family, the falcon family, and you're not supposed to eat it.
You said buzzard family?
Yeah. And you're not supposed to eat it. The falcon, the buzzard, it's a crossbreed somewhere down the line, and you're not supposed to eat chicken. You ain't going to find it that simple, Ak. You got to do a real extensive research.
I'm putting notes in it just so I can
Yeah.
get the research.
You're going to find it. You look it up, you'll find it. I want you to do your own research, though. I want you to do your own research and you find out for yourself whether the chicken is unclean or not. But don't go and do a Google search and stop right there at the first thing you find. Because they ain't going to tell you anything you need to know. They're going to hide stuff from you. And you got to really thoroughly research it to find out if it is or if it's not. That's why they fed it to us when we were slaves, because it was so cheap.
I heard that was hybrid anyway.
I am vegan, sis. I'm totally vegan.
I have a question.
I've been vegan for a long time. Yes.
It says if it's saying not to eat blood and you can't get blood out of the meat 100%, doesn't that mean that all meat is kind of
That's what it would mean.
unclean?
Absolutely. But the Creator gave us a provision for us to be able to eat meat. He did give it in the book of Genesis, the 9th chapter. He said, all right, you can eat meat, but don't eat the meat with the blood in it. What he wanted us to do was drain it out, drain the blood out of the meat.
Oh,
And I don't know how else you can get the rest of the blood out of the meat. Once all that drips out, it's still blood in that meat.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to get all that out except soak it in salt water. So maybe that's what our forefathers did. They maybe soak it in a solution that extract the blood from the meat and then they ate it.
That's what I heard though.
Yeah.
Don't they refer to meat also as the meat of fruit as well?
No, I don't know about that.
That's what
I don't know about that meat being referred to as fruit. Okay? Congratulations, sister. I'm glad you're vegan. Best choice you can make. It's a lot of things you got to do being vegan, though. You got to make sure you have a wide variety of fruits and vegetables that you eat because they have different nutrients to replenish the things that you miss from not eating that meat. One of the things that they teach, and I'm going to jump on this for a second. One of the things they teach about being vegan is that you got to eat a lot of protein. And you can't eat protein unless you're getting it from meat. That's what they teach you. And that the meat is your source of protein. So once you become vegan, you are actually missing out on the protein. So they tell you got to eat cow. Cow contains a lot of protein. But what does a cow eat? Where does he get his protein from?
Leaves,
From the grass. The same, see, even a cow is vegan. And what they do with the cows today, the natural nature of a cow is vegan. But what they'll do is they'll take a dead cow or another animal, they'll grind it up and put it in the cow feed and have the cow eating. That's where that mad cow disease came from. Because they had a cow eating against his nature. The foods he was eating was going against his nature. And we today, the foods we eat go against our nature. And we just eat and we get sick and we think it's normal. We think it's normal for a 19-year-old to look like he's 29. We think it's normal. We think it's normal for a sister or a brother to be having these big fat handles and men to have breasts. We think this is normal for our stomachs to be sticking out here, or we call that healthy. That brother eating. Yeah, he eating, but he eating all the wrong foods. That's not good. We shouldn't have obese people in our family because our minds is sharp and we're supposed to know how to feed our bodies. We're supposed to eat the foods that's good for our bodies and we don't. We eat food for the taste, not for the nutrients or the nourishment. If we ate food for the nutrients and the nourishment, a lot of the foods we eat, we wouldn't eat. A lot of us, we're fat and we're out of shape and we're sloppy because we eat a lot of candy. We eat a lot of red meat. We eat a lot of half-cooked foods. You know what I mean? That's why we look the way we look. And then a lot of us are skinny, but we still fat. Why are we skinny and still fat? What are you trying to say, Prince? I'm saying even though because you're thin, don't mean you're healthy. You still eating those same foods that are causing all that poison to still saturate your flesh. So you're skinny, but you're still receiving the same symptoms of fat people because you're eating the same poison that heavy, overweight, fat people eat. The foods that we eat today are not the foods of yesterday. So don't get it twisted and don't think that it is, because it's not. They shoot these animals up. Some of the animals are even cloned in laboratories. Never seen a farm. They shoot them up with all these different chemicals so that they grow larger than what they're supposed to be. And then we get in the supermarket, we see it on the shelf, we say, man, that looks like some good meat. That meat been sitting there 2 and 3 weeks. What they do is they take it out, they re-dye it, wrap it back up, put a new date on it, and put it back on the shelf, and we go in and consume it. This is a fact. A fact. And then, bad alone, you call yourself trying to be vegan and vegetarian and or law-abiding, so you only want to eat turkey or chicken. And a lot of the turkey sausages that you eat are cased in pork. A lot of the chicken sausages that you eat are cased in pork. A lot of the beef burgers that you mix, when they grind that meat up to make it beef, they grind the beef up to make the patties, they put pork in those things to stretch the beef so they can get more money because the pork is so cheap. These are factual things. Pull them up on YouTube. Let the white man tell you, then you might believe him. Because I look too much like you. You don't want to hear nothing I got to say. You ain't going to believe what I got to say. You're going to argue and fight with me because you're going to do what you want to do. All right. Let's finish with our reading, please. Leviticus, the 11th chapter, verse 20.
All fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping things that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth.
These are the things that ye may eat, that has all four upon the earth that creeps. Read on.
Even these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind.
Now, if I went outside and got me a cricket out in the yard and picked it up and ate it, what would you say to me?
That's nasty.
That's nasty, Prince. If I went and got a locust, a beetle, and I picked it up and ate it, what would you say to me?
Nasty.
That's nasty, Prince. You know why? Because we haven't been conditioned to eat the things that are lawful and acceptable according to the Creator's truth. Everything that I just named is lawful and acceptable for us to eat. The dog, it's not lawful and acceptable. So when you know that the Chinese man eat dog and you say, no, that's nasty, you're right. That's nasty. We are so far from the Most High intended way for us to think and live and condition ourselves. Even our diets are so far from the Most High's truth. We got to get back to the Most High's truth. Now, if you can't go out there and eat a grasshopper, then don't eat them. But don't criticize the next brother because he eats grasshoppers because the Creator made it lawful for him to eat. Read on, please.
23. But all other flying creeping things, which have 4 feet, shall be an abomination unto you. And for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever toucheth the carcasses of them shall be unclean until evening.
Stop for a second. Sister asked a question, Sister Razia. She says, is it unclean for you to have a dog in your house? The only thing that is unclean of a dog is after he dies. When he's dead, he's unclean. As long as he's alive, he's not unclean. Now, I have heard it said that you shouldn't have animals in your house, dogs, because they go outside, they walk, they're dirty, they come back in the house. But a lot of dogs are cleaner than humans.
Right.
A lot of people keep their dogs cleaner than they keep humans. A lot of humans, think about it, my wife, she gets on me all the time. Come in the house, take your shoes off, leave them by the door. I'm like, man, this carpet, I ain't about carpet coming up one day. So I'm walking the house with my shoes on. Your dog do the same thing. He go outside, he walk outside, he come back right in the house, he's tracking his dirty feet right back in the house. Most dogs, their hair shed. So they got hair all over the place. My dog used to live in here with me. But I don't think I'm going to have another dog live in the house with me unless I can do something about their hair.
Right.
Or I'm going to leave them in a certain place of the house. But I can't say that it's unclean for a dog to live in the house because the Most High don't say that you can't. And something else that I want you to know, that our forefathers, their animals would walk in and out of the house with no problem. The animals would walk in and out of the house in the ancient days how we lived. They had no problem with it. What is that? The book of Judges, I believe it's 19 somewhere in there, I think it is, where it talked about the brother, the one who sacrificed his daughter. The whole thing, Judges the 11th chapter, I think it is. The whole thing about that story was, he said, anything that comes, the first thing that comes out of my door, I'm going to sacrifice to you, Creator. Well, what do you think was coming? If he thought a human was going to walk out of his door, of course he wouldn't have said that. That shows you that our animals, they had no problem coming back and forth inside of our houses. Now, when I'm in Georgia, when I'm in Goshen, I don't let the animals in the house. Although they come up to the door and they try to get in. I caught a goat. One of the goats was in there, and I had to chase him out. John, the little bad goat. We got him chained up to a tree now because he's bad. He does what he wants. I caught him in the back of my car, in the trunk. He's a bad goat. Oh, yeah, he's bad. But that's the answer to the question. It's up to the individual whether you would allow your animal, your dog, or your cat to live in your house. Okay? Part of my problem will be the hair that's all over the place. I couldn't wait to get all that hair out of here. But the hair is gone, most of it, 99% of it. There's still some down microscopic in the floor somewhere. but it's gone for the most part. Let's go out.
25. Leviticus 11:25. And whosoever beareth out, and whosoever beareth out of the carcasses of them shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until evening. The carcasses of every beast which divideth the hoof, and is not cloven-footed, nor chewed the cud, are unclean unto you. Every one that touches them shall be unclean. 27. And whatsoever goeth upon his paws, among all manner of beasts that go on all four, those are unclean unto you.
So whatever beast goes on all fours on his paw is unclean. Squirrels, rabbits, dogs, squirrels, rabbit, dogs, those type of things are all unclean.
But cow.
Cows, but it has cloven-footed, split hoofs, and all that other stuff.
That'll be all three.
Read on.
Oh, I see.
28. And he that beareth the carcasses of them shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. They are unclean unto you. These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creepeth upon the earth. The weasel and the mouse.
What verse you on?
29.
All right, you can stop there. We're going to stop there. We're going to stop reading there. I want to draw your attention to the lesson that we have prepared, because it's going to talk about some of the things that prevent our people from fully serving the Creator. I need you to get a book of scripture for me. I want you to get the book of Acts, the 10th chapter. Many of our people have applied these teachings to the religions into our lifestyle. We want to worship the Creator. We want to apply the right laws in our form of worship, but we have errors and we make mistakes. We grow up in these religions, and these religions, we take hold of what these religions teach us, and we fall victim to a lot of these teachings of these religions. We teach it to our children, they teach it to their children, they teach it to their children, and so on, and then it becomes something normal for us to do. So when we were slaves and Christianity was pushed upon us, we adapted to a lot of the Christian teachings, and it has been in our system for a very long time. This is one of the things that the Christian teachers teach that has still been in our system even to the day, that we need to get out of our system because it's holding us back from drawing closer to the Creator. And you'll find that in the book of Acts, the 10th chapter, the 9th verse.
Acts 10, verse 9. On tomorrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance. 11. And saw heaven open, and a certain vessel descended And a certain vessel descended unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners, and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth.
All manner of four-footed beasts. That means the pig, that means the bear, that means the squirrels, the rabbits, and everything else, along with the camel, along with the cow. All manners of four-footed beasts was in that sheet that was let down from heaven to the earth. Correct?
Yeah.
So watch what happens now.
And wild beasts, and creepy things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter.
There came a what?
A voice unto him.
Never in the New Testament does it say that the Creator spoke. Nowhere in the New Testament do they identify those voices as the voice of the Almighty. You'll never see that. So here's an example here where another voice spoke from heaven. Paul says there are many voices in heaven. So which one of those voices is this? Read on, let's see what it says. Arise, Peter.
Rise, Peter. Kill.
Kill
And eat.
and eat. Wait a minute.
Wow.
It's talking to a Hebrew. Peter's supposed to be a Hebrew Israelite who abide by the laws of the Almighty, correct?
Yeah.
Supposedly, right? So it said, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. So Peter knew the 11th chapter of the book of Leviticus, that certain animals we can't eat. So if that was a creator, why he tell Peter to do that? Read on, please, and let's see what happens. What Peter say?
But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean.
He said, I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. Peter said that. Let me ask you a question. Did JC write any books in the New Testament
No,
at all?
no.
He didn't write no books in the New Testament, right? So, did he read from any books in the New Testament?
No.
So, if you want to follow JC in truthfulness, you should do what JC did, right? What books did he read?
The Old Testament books.
What did he read? What did he teach? Supposedly. The laws of the Almighty. He read from the old books of the Old Covenant. And what he did do also, supposedly what he did do, from the teachings of Peter, he taught about the dietary law. Peter said, I have never eaten anything that's common or unclean. He learned that growing up as a young Hebrew boy. Read on, let's see what happens.
Here, 15.
No. Oh yeah, go ahead.
And the voice spake unto him again.
Why they describe it as the voice? Peter's saying it's the Lord, but that Lord ain't never say I'm the Lord. That Lord said it's a voice. Read on. That voice said unto him what?
The second time. What God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. This was done thrice, and the vessel was received up again into heaven.
It went back. Now, by this interpretation, many believe that this is to mean that we may eat any type of beast. The hog, the squirrels, the rabbit, the possum. A lot of people interpret that the Creator made all these beasts, all these animals in the earth. So according to this verse that they read in the New Testament, that's not a scripture. It's a verse that they put there, written by a man. They said, but that verse does not even translate that it's cool for you to eat all types of beasts, but yet a lot of our people do. They come out of this New Testament stuff, and this New Testament teachings teaches them that it's okay for us to eat any type of animal on the earth. Because Peter received a revelation that whatever God made, they call him God, whatever God made, who are you to call it unclean? I didn't call it unclean. The Most High called it unclean in the book of Leviticus, the 11th chapter. He is a power and he changed not. So if that was a creator, he wouldn't have told you to eat them unclean animals. He wouldn't have did that because he already told us not to eat them. All right? All right. These types of teachings weaken our spirituality and our spiritual strength. And they make us unacceptable to the Most High and acceptable to evil in many ways. There are a lot of things that, as a result of eating them, it clog up your spiritual receptacles that allows portals to be opened in your spiritual development to draw closer to the Creator. A lot of the foods that the Most High has forbidden for us to eat is because it will stunt our spiritual growth. A lot of these things. The secretion of certain chemicals from the meat has a certain effect on the physical body and the mental body, thereby having an effect on the spiritual body. And you're not supposed to eat these things. So when we take it upon ourselves to say, well, I'm going to eat this because it tastes good. Although the law says for you not to eat it, you are in violation of the laws of the Creator. A lot of these things are designed to keep you from your spiritual development. Why do you think that the European man put pork in almost everything that we eat? Toothpaste got pork in it. What in the world is pork going to be in a toothpaste for? There are so many things that has pork contained in it that once you eat it, it defiles you. You don't know, but your body knows it's being defiled because it will trigger certain things or receptacles within your flesh to cause certain portals to be closed up. Your mind won't function right. Your body won't operate right. And the more poison you put in your flesh, the harder it is for you to see the truth of the Creator. This is a fact. Why do you think junk food is so prominent in the earth today? Processed foods are so prominent. I remember when I was a little boy. And this is one of my earliest remembrance of my childhood. I was in my teens, I think I was. How many years? About 15 years ago? Yeah, 18 years ago. I was in my teens, right? Let me see, 18, 39, yeah, 10, 20, right. 10, 12 years ago, I was in my teens, right? So I remember I was in my mom's house. I used to live with my mom when I was little, my mother. She had a husband, but I was living with my mama. And I was washing the dishes. And at that time, we had little televisions, little black and white televisions. You only had a color television if you had some money. We ain't had no money 11 years ago. So I had a little black and white television that we got from the pawn shop, you know. You know how that go. So if I had some money, I had a color television, but we didn't have enough money for a color television back then. So I didn't have a color television, I had a black and white television. But I remember this man was on a talk show. Now you got to listen closely. And this man said in the next 10 years, 90% of the foods that you eat will come out of your freezer. The man never lied. Think about it. Most of the food you eat today, almost every meal comes out of that refrigerator. Almost everything you eat is frozen, prepackaged. It's almost to the point where almost nobody eats all natural food from the earth anymore. Back in the day, most of your food was fresh food, live food, whole food. Now today, most of your food is prepackaged, processed foods. Now back in the day, we didn't have a whole lot of cancer. Now, we got a lot of cancer. Back in the day, you didn't hear a whole lot about diseases and people dying of diabetes and a whole lot of other stuff. Now, the food you eat have a direct effect on the health that you have. You have to understand this, family. It's not a joke. I remember one brother came to stay with me for a while. Yeah, that brother, yeah. So when he came to stay with me, he went on this vegan diet with me for about 3 weeks. He comes to me with me. He comes up to me once. He said, "Hey, Prince," man, with tears in his eyes. I mean, I was just like, wow. Tears in his eyes. He says, "Prince, man, I'm telling you, this vegan diet you got me on, man, it's the truth. I am so thankful." He said, "Before I came, my back used to hurt me all the time. I used to have pain. Am I lying? I used to have pains all in my back and my legs, and I was all messed up. But since I've been here with you for them 3 weeks, eating the foods that you got, them vegan foods, I ain't felt no pain yet." All I can say was thank you, Creator, that he understood. You know, that brother went right out 2 weeks later and ate some chicken.
Philly cheesesteak.
He went ate some cheesesteaks, some chickens. I don't know if he ate no pork, but he went out and ate all kinds of stuff. Now he come back around telling me, "Man, my back hurt. Oh, my back hurt." Why do your back hurt, bro? The Most High gave you the knowledge. The Most High said, "Don't do it." He did. He said, "Don't do it." He showed you. He proved it to you that the vegan diet was what you need to be taking. And you confessed, "Yo, man, this is the best I felt." He started squatting. "This is the best I felt in years."
You went running up and down the alley?
Yeah, up and down the steps. "Yo, man, I went jogging and I could actually run around the block. I haven't been able to run in years. It's that vegan diet." And 2 weeks later, he out eating chicken sandwiches, fried chicken, barbecue chicken, everything but the hog maw. And as soon as I see him again, he come back around, his back hurting again, his legs hurting. "Oh man, I can't hardly move. I can't get on this ladder too long." "Why you can't get on the ladder?" "My back hurt." Your back's supposed to hurt when you ignore what you're supposed to do for your health. We're not supposed to eat food because of its taste. You're supposed to eat food because of its nourishment, how it frees the body, how it feeds the body, how it brings security and safety to the body. Your body will tell you what's not good for you. So a lot of people, when we eat these foods, we think that we are in our right mind, but we're not. Think about this for a second. When you're eating those meats, and if it's hurting your physical body where you can actually feel it in your physical flesh, what do you think it's doing to your mind, your brain? It's hurting your brain too. It's blocking the portals that allow your spirituality to be strengthened. And you don't even know it. You feel the physical and be like, damn, my back hurt, my legs hurt, my knees hurt, my hip hurt. I was fasting for about a month, just right before I went to Goshen on this trip. I was fasting almost a month straight. Only thing I was eating was grape juice. Just grape juice, water, that was it. And I was taking some herbs, special fast. And that was almost lasted for a month. When I went to Goshen, I said my fast is going to end when I get to Goshen. Because I know my wife, she likes to cook. And I like to eat. When she feed me, she going to feed me and I'm going to eat it, tear it up. Man, I ate all that food and my stomach start getting like this. Yeah, because she feeds. Believe me, she feed. Right, baby? You feed, right? Yeah, she feed. So my stomach started, and this was the feast too. We was having all kinds of, man, that food was like tremendously good. Plus, I ain't had none in so long. I woke up this morning thinking about some food. So, I was eating all this food. A lot of it was fresh food, but some of it was processed food, which means that it came in a box. It was food that we bought from packages, and we mixed it with all natural foods, whole foods, foods that's alive, like vegetables and onions and collard greens and kale and all that type of stuff, but some of the food was processed. I stayed there for 2 weeks. When I came back on a ride back to Philadelphia, because I drove back to Philadelphia, my hips was hurting. My legs was hurting. And I said to myself that a lot of this come from the foods that I was eating. Although it was natural food, vegan food, it was still some processed food in the mix of it. When I got back from Georgia, when I got back from Goshen, I went back on my fast. The next day, all that pain was gone. When I got up in the morning, it was still hurting. I was walking a little funny. You say, oh, you walking like that, Prince? Yeah. Walking a little funny. But by the time I got my fast in the high gear, like a day later, I was cool. That little bit of misery, that little bit of pain was gone. This is real, family. If you suffering or you got family members that are suffering from diseases, illnesses, sicknesses, pains in the body, pains in the head, pains in the legs, a lot of time that stuff comes directly from the food you eat. I would say 90% of the time, those pains, those sicknesses, those illnesses are directly related to the foods that you eat. And you have to stop eating that poison. Processed foods are bad for human consumption, period. So eat as less processed foods as you can. Eat as less processed foods as you can. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people don't want to accept it. A lot of people don't believe it, but it's a fact. Try to fast for 2 weeks, where all you do is drink water and eat fruit and eat vegetables. All natural fruit. You can eat as much as you want. Much fruit, much vegetables, much water. No juice. Just fruit, vegetables, and water. That's enough to sustain you for 2 weeks. Just eat that. But before you do it, write down the little pains that you may have, the little sicknesses that you may have, the little things that ail you. Write them down. And then start your fast. Do it for 2 weeks and watch those pains either subside or completely go away. I promise you. I promise you. Why am I saying these things? I'm saying these things because I care about you. And I want to see you at your best. I want to see you operate at your best. No, man, don't listen to that, Prince. Prince just wants you to be vegan because he's vegan. I don't care if you're vegan or not. You don't want to be vegan? Don't be vegan. Don't be vegan. Don't listen to me. You don't have to do what it is that I'm saying, sharing and exchanging information with you to do that I know is best for you. Test it for yourself. Try a 2-week fast. You'll start losing weight. Your stomach that stick out here will start going down. Your wife will start rubbing your stomach, talking about, man, you getting a 6-pack. Yeah, I know. You still got a long way to go. You'll get there though. But you have to do these things. When you got that little extra weight on your legs, your arms. I ain't talking about muscle like mine. So I ain't talking about the muscle. I'm talking about that fat. That fat you got on your legs and your arms. I'm talking all around your neck. It's like Hulk Hogan because it's fat. You're a man and you need a bra. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. When you do this fast for the 2 weeks, you will see a significant difference. The problem comes in, you have so many benefits from fasting, first of all. But the problem comes in your willingness to succeed through that fast. Because a lot of people are not really willing to succeed. So they'll go a day or two and then they'll give up. Some people go for a couple hours and give up. Because they gotta have something that tastes good. That's poison. So do it for your health. Do it for your life. Do it for all the right reasons. Yes.
How long you been vegan?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I'll be telling you my age then. Long time. I'm 39 3/4.
Over 10 years?
Yeah. Well over 10 years. So I guess I started being a vegan when I was about 19. Yeah. You know how I started being vegan? Or vegetarian. I was vegetarian first. But this is how it started for me.
What's the difference, actually?
Vegetarians eat cheese. Some vegetarians eat cheese and fish.
And eggs.
Eggs and some butter and stuff like that. Vegans don't eat nothing with eyes. Anything that got eyes, vegans don't eat it.
Or anything that came from animal. So milk, eggs.
Yeah, but the milk has eyes because it came from a cow.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Anything
Yeah.
that came from it.
Yeah, we'll eat none of that stuff. She talking about 30 years. Yeah, who? About 30 years what? What are you trying to say, miss? Huh? She's trying to talk about 30.
You know, 30 you been vegan? She said that?
Yeah, talking about I've been vegan about 30 years. Yeah, right. What you talking about? I'm only 39 3/4.
You don't eat honey either? Cause they
I eat honey. Some vegans don't eat honey. But I eat honey.
Right.
But you had asked me a question. I was about to explain something, then I got sidetracked because somebody took me off. What was your question to me? How long I've been vegan?
Okay.
Well, did you ask something else?
No, just
Okay.
sounds the difference
What was the
between vegan.
difference between
But no, you was going to say something before.
I answered that. Yeah, I was getting ready to say something, but I lost it. I don't like to lose when I'm trying to give something. I forget it. So anyway, if it was meant to be, it would be said. The Creator bring it back if He wants us to say it. Okay.
So even the fish, like, cause I had some of that salmon, the fried, the salmon that was in the freezer.
Salmon in what freezer?
The patties, remember?
In what freezer? My freezer?
One
Here?
No,
In Georgia, Sparta.
no.
So what freezer you talking about?
When
The other one,
I got,
right?
Oh, my other White House?
yeah,
Oh, you had some vegan there. You had some salmon there.
it's the salmon patties.
Fish. She not vegan. I'm vegan.
Okay,
They eat fish.
but it's would that be a processed thing or something like
It's
that?
processed.
In the freezer?
It's I eat processed foods, but it's a very minimum. Right now, I don't eat nothing but grapes and herbs because I'm fasting. I went back on my fast again, so I'm gonna be fasting for a while. All right, but when I'm not fasting, I eat processed food, but they're vegan processed foods, and I eat a minimum of it so it don't kill me, so I don't get sick and I don't hurt, and my body don't get out of tune. But as long as I eat enough natural foods, then I should be all right. But if I start feeling like I'm not, I can easily just cut it off and keep it moving. So I'm not telling you don't eat processed foods. I'm saying cut down on a whole lot in your diet. But if you eat meat, my recommendation would be get rid of it. Don't eat meat. That would be my recommendation. But I'm not going to say that that's against the law because it's not against the law. Okay?
process it goes through.
Yeah, the process, the stuff that they shoot them animals up with is horrendous. It's horrible. The chemicals that they put in the meats, the meat be spoiled, they'll go and clean it up and dye it again and put it back on the shelf for you to eat. There's so much poison.
You can make your own salmon patties too.
Yeah.
That way you know what. Yeah. That way you know what process it's going through, rather than a machine doing it, because they be putting all kinds of stuff in it.
That's true. Are there any other questions? You know, I want you to know also that your food directly relates to your mind and how you feel. A lot of people are depressed because of the chemicals in the food is causing depression upon them. A lot of people commit suicide because of the foods that they eat. It's that severely depressing them. And a lot of people don't understand that. They didn't make that relationship. They can't tie it together, but it's a fact. So be careful of the foods you eat and watch the moods that you'll be in when you eat certain foods. Are there any questions? How about you in the audience, family? You got any questions you want to ask Prince? Maybe Prince can give you an answer. You guys have any questions?
I asked mine. So out for the lesson though. Yeah.
No problem. Here to please the Creator. And if you can find something in that, in me pleasing the Creator, that will benefit you in your walk toward the Creator, then I'm happy. Y'all see any questions in the room? Because I want to address the needs of the people. All right, so if there are no questions, we're going to end out for today's portion. And I want you all to remember to tune in to my wife's page, because they will be having teachings on her page in Goshen. They should be going live this afternoon when they do the teachings. May the Most High be praised forever and forever. Toda Rabah Lekim. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Toda Rabah Lekah.